Today, on a very special episode of What's Up, Closers? It's Greg Gomez III, founder, CEO, FastStartMarketer.com. I have a very special announcement to make for you guys here. I'm actually starting to give some sales training to folks one-on-one. Very exciting. For some folks that are interested in that, comment and we'll talk all about that. If you're watching this on the social medias and you haven't yet gone over to youtube.com/FastStartMarketer and subscribed, we hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna do some live prospecting dials for you. I'm gonna show you how to get some really cool stuff done by live demonstration. It's one thing for me to tell you how to do something. It's a completely different matter for me to actually show you word for word, verbatim, by talking to people so you can see it directly. Important, energetic stuff. In addition to that, I missed yesterday's presentation and actual deal for two reasons. Number one, we're moving. I'm buying a new house, doing that whole thing. So that's a bit of a chore. But the real reason was I actually had an interview at our normal scheduled time to actually do this yesterday. This is a little later than normal. But I did it with Ben Gower. It's a really awesome interview. I'm going to do some editing to it. I downloaded it and I'm going to edit it and I'm going to put it up for you guys to be able to watch because I think it covers a lot in a very short time frame. If you guys want to get a copy of that, maybe I'll have you opt in, get into the mailing list. Or you know what? This is what we'll do. We'll make it a special private video so that if you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, then I'll send it to you privately so you can actually watch it there. How about that? How about that for bribing people? Subscribe and I'll get you a copy of it. All right. So that said, what are we talking about today? Everything I'm telling you here, all of the things you're experiencing, all the challenges you're facing in your salesmanship, that's exactly why I'm shooting this video for you here today. In prospecting, connecting with your prospect is a very important thing. And I want to talk about the Columbo close. There's this old TV show, I'm dating myself, called Columbo. And Columbo would do this thing where he'd come in, hi, how you doing? I'm Columbo, blah, blah, blah. He'd do this thing, right? And it was kind of a shtick. And what he would do is people would be so resistant to him. He'd come in and, hey, I just wanted to ask you a few questions because Columbo had a reputation. And in this reputation, what wound up happening was he'd talk to folks, but they'd always know. They'd know that if Columbo's coming your way, you better watch out because he's going to get information from you. And he's a powerful detective. He's going to get the truth from you. You can't hide it. You just can't. So he would do all kinds of different things. I'm going to make sure my microphone is on. Okay. He would do all kinds of different things to try to get the information from you. But alas, the people would resist. They'd say staunch. Their resistance to his influence would stay high, right? And then he'd say, well, you know what? Okay, great, fantastic, thank you so much, all the way. And he'd start to walk away, right? And he'd walk himself to the door, and the person would be walking him to the door. And then right at the last minute, he said, oh, and as they're walking him to the door, they're feeling good, elated. Hey, I got away with it. I'm getting it. It's awesome, cool, great. And then he would hit the door and say, one more thing. What about this? And it would be something small, insignificant, minor. And they would say, oh, well, yeah, that wasn't anything to do with that. That had to do with this thing over here. Oh, so you mean to tell me that that did this and this did that? They'd say, well, yeah, because Henrietta would do this and yada, yada. So if she wasn't there, how could that have happened? Oh, he caught him. He caught him. And he did it in a turnaround close. Now, this has been applied in many different ways in the sales process. It's in the typical application for sales is what I heard Brian Tracy convey. If you don't follow Brian Tracy is an old school sales trainer, brilliant still to this day, alive and kicking and doing real well. Highly encourage you to check out a lot of his positive messaging. But he would describe it in this way where it'd be like, okay, Mr. Johnson, obviously the product's not something you want, totally fine. They'd pack it up, start getting everything ready to leave. They'd walk out to the door and thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with you, Mr. Johnson. Fantastic information. You know, hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't take too much of your time. They hit the door, they grab the handle, they say, just for my own benefit, what was it really that was stopping you from taking advantage of it tonight? But because we're walking them out the door, it's really just a money thing. You know, financially, we're just not we're in a very good position to be able to get it done. They would spit out the real objection because the resistance has dropped so much. They're not having to think about fighting. They're actually glad that the salesman's going to be leaving their house and the pressure is going to be gone. But then they tell the real objection, oh, well, if that's it, oh, Mrs. Johnson, let me show you. And they shut the door and they go back to selling, right? That's a Columbo close in its traditional sense. Now, I have a challenge with that because if I'm saying I'm leaving to somebody, I really want to leave. I want to make sure that that's a preparation. If I do a Columbo info gather, I want to get that information so I can use it on my next sales pitch. I want to use it to improve my future or put them on a drip campaign that will market to them. Oftentimes, if they do say, honestly, man, it's just the money. If we could have fixed the money, it's something I would have done. For me to wait till the end of a call to get to that point, I think it's not very efficient or effective, and it makes me feel, it's the right word, it makes me feel like I'm some shystery guy with a trench coat showing you all kinds of, oh, you don't want watches? I got bracelets. You want bracelets? Oh, you want bracelets? I've got, you pull out hats. I don't know where you're pulling a hat from, but you're pulling hats out, right? So, but I've always liked this technique. It always perplexed me. So how could I use it in a way that actually worked better? So I applied it into prospecting of all places. And the where I used it in prospecting was in the spot where I'm talking to folks and they say that, oh, you know, I don't remember doing that, or I get so many calls, I'm not interested. One of my favorite places, if you call somebody up, I see Angela, I see Khalid, I say, hey, Angela, this is Greg Gomez out in Phoenix, Arizona. How are you doing? Fantastic. Hey, I'm calling because you'd replied to some information about how to be able to start a home-based business, or you were looking to get fit, or you were looking to get pain relief, or you were looking to whatever, insert whatever they were trying to do. They say, oh, yeah, I'm not interested. Thank you very much. Actually, Chris, Kirk, that's exactly why I'm giving you a call. It looks like you've been getting bombarded by a bunch of different people asking questions about this thing. Have you been getting a lot of calls? Is that true? Actually, yes, it is. What? And so that's called the turnaround close. I use the Columbo, but I don't do it going to the door. I actually come in and have them tell me the rejection, and then I tell them that's exactly why I'm actually giving you a call. And it forces them to say, what are you talking about? Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever? Well, it sounds to me like you're getting bombarded by a lot of calls. And I just re-emphasize to them what they just told me. So if they say, hey, I'm getting a ton of calls, I'm not interested in this. Actually, that's exactly the reason why I'm giving you a call. Based on what you're telling me here, you're getting a ton of calls about this, right? Yeah. Did you go on and put your name into a bunch of different places, or what happened? What got you going here? Because your paperwork came across my desk and they were listing here that you were interested in getting this type of result, but I don't know if that made any sense. It sounds like you're getting bombarded. Man, what's going on? Yeah, I did. And then they just vent. They start telling you all the issues and challenges. Man, I put my information in this one place and they're reselling it everywhere and yada, 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 yada. Okay, well, that's the reason why I wanted to give you a call, because they're listing here that would benefit you. That's all well and good, but man, if you're just getting annoyed and bombarded by telemarketing calls, obviously you're not going to have any interest in that at all, right? Right. Okay. So take that out of it. Originally, were you interested in that thing before the onslaught of calls started? Yeah, I really was. Okay. So set it aside. What's been the challenge with a lot of the calls? Oh, these guys want thousands of dollars and, blah, 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 blah. So it's important that you understand that that's exactly why I'm giving you a call, as a gateway to figure out and to separate their perception of what the call is. They don't even know why you're calling. They don't even know who you are. They don't know where you're from. They don't know what to discard to. So you have to decompress. But because they've gotten so many calls and they don't like those calls because of the things those people have said, the price, they were rude, they were just pushy, they didn't listen, they were terrible telemarketers. They were trying to sell me these really crazy Ponzi schemes. They're associating all of that negative stuff with a phone call like yours. So they're putting you in the same bucket. Those people called me. They said all this outlandish stuff. You're calling me, you must be like them, which means all your stuff is outlandish too. Does that make sense? Very important psychological unpacking that you have to do with a prospect right out the gate. And when you say, that's exactly why I'm giving you a call, is because it looks like this certain thing is happening. Is that correct? And they say, yes, it is. You're now no longer somebody marketing to them one of those other things. You've removed yourself from that box and you're starting to unpack that all, separating what about it they didn't like, so you can eliminate that thing they didn't like and talk more about the thing they were looking for. So originally you were interested in this, but everybody came targeting that and bringing all this other stuff. Is that right? All the high fees and the Ponzi schemes and all this other stuff. Is that correct? Yeah, it is. Okay. So I'm clear. Were you still interested in this thing minus the Ponzi schemes and all that other stuff? Yeah, absolutely. What do you got? Well, it depends. We have a couple of different things. Let me ask you a few questions. Let me make sure you're actually qualified, because if you are, this might be something that would be exactly what you're looking for, but let me make sure that you are a good fit first before we even get too far into it. Fair? Okay, great. Grab a pen and piece of paper. I'll get you the details. So literally what I'm doing is I'm taking the lesson from Columbo. I am Columbo, yeah. But I'm taking it and I'm applying it to prospecting so I can get my foot in the door more often. And using this strategy along with the Yes Momentum and several other techniques I've taught over the course of this web series should help you to get in the door more often with cold prospects, or even prospects that have been, even older leads. This is some of my favorite things to do, is to call on older opportunity seeker leads or older leads and go through this process, because I get to get quickly into, are you still interested? And more importantly, what was the biggest objection you ran into? And I'm pretty good at handling objections. So I just handle the objections and I start working on the process from there to help people get involved. Make sense? Would you like to have a sales superpower? Would you like the ability to be able to identify, isolate, and overcome any objection that your prospect may be bringing your way? Well, my friend, if you'd like that, that's a simple process that you can do on the front end. See, people make the mistake of thinking that objection handling is something you do after you've made a presentation and you're going for the sale. Incorrect. Actually, you can eliminate 80% of the objections you run into by prospecting a prospect properly. You see, if you actually use my secret formula called the Excited Prospect Formula, what it's going to do for you is help you uncover exactly why your prospect is fearful, what they're resistant to, what they're scared of, what other experiences they may have had that packages you along with them, how to open it, unpackage it, and find the good stuff they want and eliminate the bad stuff for them so they can concentrate on you and associate you with the good things that they're looking for. This is all included inside of my program called the Excited Prospect Formula. What is this fantastic formula and where can I get my hands on it, Mr. Gomez? It's a fantastic question. I'm glad you asked. So you can go right now to faststartmarketer.com/EPF, Excited Prospect Formula, faststartmarketer.com/EPF, and you can get a copy of this whole entire formula at a huge discounted drop rate right now. In addition to that, you also get an opportunity to talk to one of my team members where we can work and talk about what's going on specifically in your business and offer some suggestions on how to implement the material right away. You get access to a Facebook group where you can ask questions, and if you think this content's fantastic, wait till you get inside of one of my groups. That stuff's gonna really flip your head. You'll lose your hair. That said, grab a copy of it right now and I'll see you on the inside. If you are in business right now or you know people who are in sales who are looking for ways to improve the way they communicate, first part of this presentation was something that you should definitely take a look at and share with your team members. Tag them, share them, like them, and all that good stuff. And again, if you want to see me do this live on YouTube, go over to youtube.com/faststartmarketer, subscribe, and when we hit 1,000 subscribers, my friend, we're going to jump on the phone and do some live dials. So if you're ready for that, jump on over there and get it done. And in the meantime, grab a copy of the EPF, the Excited Prospect Formula, and I'll see you on the inside. If you're on YouTube right now, you want to see my latest content, you can watch my last video here. Subscribe. Let's go do some live dials. I'll talk to you soon.